Do it. So, hi everyone. Welcome to our back to school virtual event. Today, I am here with very special guest, and it is Katie, and she is on Instagram as Wholehearty. And I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself in just a sec. But my name is Jessica, and today I am representing Jewel-Osco, and we are going to be showing you guys all of these wonderful products that you can use for your back to school lunches or dinner for after school. Katie will go ahead and show all of that in just a sec. But before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that there is a chat function. So feel free to go ahead and enter any comments, any questions you might have about any of the products or any of the recipes that Katie will be showing. And just be sure to keep it nice and friendly. We are also recording today, so if you would love to show your lovely faces, please feel free to do so. But we just ask that you guys please stay muted. But yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Katie.
Sure, thanks, Jess. Hey everyone, I am Katie Hardy. I'm an integrative health and wellness coach, so I'm all about that mind-body connection. So if you feel like you know what to do when it comes to nutrition and eating or even fitness, but you just can't seem to do it consistently, that's where I step in. So you can learn more about me at wholehearty.com or on Instagram or Facebook at Wholehearty. So I'm so happy to be here today. We have so many foods to use today. It's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, it looks like we have full counters over here.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So should we just hop in and get started?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's show us what you have for your first lunchbox.
Cool. Okay, so the theme for today is back to school. Now, some of you, your kids may not be going. So no matter whether you are going to be home working with your kids here e-learning, or if your kids are going off to school, these lunch boxes will totally work. So even if you have your kids at home and they're not going to be physically in school, they will mentally be in school with all sorts of e-learning, whether it's on a laptop or an iPad or things that their teachers are sending them home with. So it's just nice to have a lunch pack. So I wanted to kick us off with that. Just, you will feel so much more prepared and proud of yourself just having that lunch packed in the morning, so that when your kiddo is learning and then coming in and hungry, you can just say, hey, the lunch box is in the fridge. So it's a nice way to still kind of give them that back to school fun, right? Like having that excitement back to school. You can even get them a new lunch box just so they feel back to school, even though back to school is really different this year. Cool.
Yeah, I feel like a new lunchbox or a new book bag is always like the sign of a new school year. And just by having that lunchbox, I feel like is enough for them to know, like, all right, I'm in the next grade and it's time to kick it back into school.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm so happy that Jewel is doing this back to school kickoff, because it reminds us, even though it's a little bit different this year, depending on your situation, we still need to celebrate it and we need to help our kiddos feel good about it too. All right,
Yes.
start off with lunchbox number 1. So we are going to show you guys 2 different lunchbox meals today and a bonus weeknight dinner as well. So for lunchbox number 1, it is going to be a sandwich. And the bread that we're using is Schar gluten-free bread. Super delicious. I wish I could zoom in and show you how good this looks. But I have the multi-grain bread, but there was white bread too. What did you get, Jess?
I also got the multigrain. I'm just a big fan of wheat multigrain bread, so I had to reach for this one.
Yes, yeah, it's really, really yummy. So for the sandwich today, going into lunchbox number 1, I'm going to use ham. You can use any deli meat. My boy who's going into kindergarten this year loves ham, so that's why I selected it. And what's so fun about Jewel too is when you go up to the counter, they can shave off fresh meat for you, and you can tell them if you want it thin sliced or thick sliced. So that's what I chose for today. What kind of meat do you have, Jess?
So I'm actually not making any of the sandwiches, but I totally agree with you on the deli part. I love that you can choose the thickness of the cuts, whether it's for cheese or meats, things like that. So I do love that about Jewel-Osco. So I agree with you there.
Cool. Okay, so whether you have turkey or ham, I grew up on like salami and mozzarella, so whatever floats your boat. So I have my ham here, and so just putting it here on the Schar gluten-free bread. And additionally, my little guy loves, we call it orange cheese. And so I have Kraft Singles here for the cheese. And these are super simple because you can just keep them in the fridge. And if your kiddo even wants a snack and you don't have time to like make them anything super nice and prepared, they can just grab this themselves since it's individually wrapped. So Kraft Singles. And there's also a low-fat version of the Kraft Singles. So you can always grab that too. So you can put 1 or 2 pieces of lunch meat, 1 or 2 pieces of cheese. And then when I make my sandwiches for my little guy, I like mixing up either cutting it in rectangles or cutting it in triangles. So you can kind of decide. And actually, my mom used to take cookie cutters and she would cut the bread in the shape of like a Christmas tree or a heart, whatever type of cookie cutter we had. So if you wanted to add a little fun there, you can do that too.
I love that idea. I feel like it'll make it also fun and enjoyable for them to go ahead and snack on it or eat it during lunch.
Yeah, just like a cute little surprise. Okay, so now to wrap up the lunches, we have these If You Care brand lunch bags. Now, what I love about these is we're trying to use less plastic, right? So instead of getting a plastic bag or instead of getting a like big Tupperware, which is kind of like too bulky to put in a lunchbox anyways, or sometimes they're kind of complicated to open and your kiddo can't really open up the Tupperware. Having these, they're FSC and Compostable certified grain-free paper, snack, and sandwich bags. Good for the environment, kiddo. And you have to think about it too, that your kid's food is going to be touching whatever you put it in. So super safe. So here's what we have, If You Care. Do you have those too, Jess?
Yeah, I also got them. And another thing too, because I know someone just mentioned like if you were gonna put any like greenery in the sandwich, but let's say you were gonna put mayonnaise, these bags are great because the grease or the oils from the mayonnaise is not gonna seep through the bag and like get all over their lunch bag or, you know, get into anything else that you have in the lunch bag too, because that won't go through these bags, which is really nice.
That is such a good point. Yes. So for this one in particular, ham and cheese, basic for my 5-year-old, that's like all he wants on it. Absolutely, you can totally put some romaine lettuce on there or any type of lettuce that your kiddo or yourself, if you're packing this lunch for yourself, mayonnaise, mustard. Yep. And I love knowing that it won't seep through the bag and get all over their fingers or all over the lunchbox and other things. So that's a huge plus for the If You Care brand for sure. All right, so wrap it up, and then we'll put this in our little lunchbox here. We have Minecraft today for lunchbox number 1. All the rage in my household. All right, so that is number 1. And as we're talking about, so we have the Schar gluten-free bread, the Kraft Singles, whatever deli meat, and then in the If You Care sandwich bag. So next up, we are going to have some yogurt. So Stonyfield they have the tubes, but I like how they also have these pouches. I feel like they're a little cleaner to eat, but I love the tubes too. My kids go crazy for the tubes and the pouches for Stonyfield. But we're using the pouches today, and it's super simple, right? Instead of having to think about like a yogurt carton and giving them a spoon, all you have to do is just have the pouch, throw it in the bag, and you're good to go. Do you have the pouches too?
Yeah, I picked up the strawberry banana, and I like that you mentioned that you don't need to throw in a spoon in their bag, anything like that, because they're so convenient and they can just, you know, drink them up like a juice. And I also love the tubes, also the flavors that they come in. I love that they have like 2 in each package. But these are definitely a lot more convenient to eat, maybe on the go or for lunch at school.
Yes, I totally agree. And I remember when I first had kids and they were toddlers, we were always using these pouches. I would keep them in like the diaper bag. But my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old have these today, and we're going crazy over them. They were so excited. So they're good for any age at all. I have the strawberry beet berry. So it looks like strawberry and raspberry. And so organic, whole milk, live and active cultures, which is really, really good for your gut. 35% less sugar than other leading brand kids yogurts. And another thing that Stonyfield highlights is that you can freeze this overnight and then put it in your kiddo's lunchbox, and it could be thawed out by the time they're eating lunch. So that would be if they're leaving their lunchbox out, in their locker or whatnot. But again, if they're going to be eating at home, it's easy to just leave it in the fridge too. So part 2 of the sandwich lunchbox number 1 is the Stonyfield organic yogurt. Hop in.
I love how this is all coming together. We do have a couple questions. So they were talking about the bread. How many different options do we have? I think in store, there's so many different options. But what kind did you guys see?
Yeah, I saw white bread and I saw multigrain bread. I don't remember seeing if there were other options, but maybe my store was kind of sold out of a lot of the other options.
Yeah, I know that they have a lot of like buns for like hamburgers and like hot dogs and stuff like that. So any type of sandwich you want, they've got options as well.
That's so good to know. All right, so burger buns, hot dog buns, that's awesome.
All gluten-free. And then they were also asking if the bread needs to be left out or do you put it in the fridge? I personally leave mine out.
Yeah, I will be putting mine in the fridge. We are fridge bread people. Everyone is different. And leaving it out makes it softer. But I'm sure on the bag here too, it will say, refrigerate. Or, and if you say that, then you're perfectly fine to keep it out. That's a great question. Yeah.
You were skipping out a little bit.
And you know what?
You're good.
Better now. I should highlight though that this was in the bread section at Jewel. So some gluten-free breads you might see in the freezer section at Jewel or like a refrigerator section. This was in the bread section out in the aisles at Jewel. So it's probably fine then after you open it to keep it out on the corner. And I don't see anywhere that it says refrigerate after opening. So you could keep it soft on your counter if you'd like. Any other questions as I drop the bread on the
floor? Someone asked how much sugar was in the Stonyfield packets.
I love all these guys. Keep them coming. There is, so 1 pouch, 100 calories, and 9 grams of sugar, but only 4 of those are added.
Yeah, so for the strawberry banana flavor, it's the same. It just has 90 calories instead.
Cool. Yeah. So that's not too bad either. And it's 8% of your day. So luckily, it's not in the 20s. 8% is relatively low for one part of your meal for sugar content for the day. Okay, shall we move on to the next item for lunchbox number 1? We are going to add, now you have your choice. So I have a fruit for one of the lunch boxes and a vegetable for one of the lunch boxes. So we are going to do a fruit for the sandwich lunchbox and just a simple apple. You can really do whatever type of fruit that you want. What I love about Jewel too is that they have a ton of pre-cut fruit. So you want to make sure you're having a nice, balanced, healthy meal for your kiddos where they're going to have lasting energy throughout the day. They're getting those vitamins and nutrients that they need, particularly during times of COVID. So just kind of throwing in an apple, and you can cut it up if you want. In the produce section for Jewel, there are still peaches right now and grapes, and Jewel has like cups of pre-cut and pre-picked fruit as well. So we're going to throw an apple into lunchbox number 1. Good for fiber. What do you have a fruit in particular, Jess, that you're going to put in?
Yeah, so I love going to that section where it's the fruit's already in the cup, it's washed, it's cut up. I just feel like it's so convenient and something that you can grab and just toss in your book bag and go. But my favorite is getting the grapes because sometimes you don't finish the entire big bag of grapes. So having them in the cup is so much easier to go through.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if you don't even have time to really like cut something up, if even a banana would be easy to throw into a lunchbox as well.
Yes.
Taking that big bag of grapes and just knowing that you're going to be good for like a week or at least a good few days with all those grapes and putting those into a lunchbox too. That's a great idea. I love those. Okay, so moving on to we're going to have a granola bar now in this lunch. And we have a couple different options for granola bars, but since we have a sandwich with the 2 slices of bread, we're going to go with, of all the bars, one that is a little more condensed in size. We're going for the chewy granola in this sandwich lunchbox for lunchbox number 1. So what I love about Chewy too is this can fit anywhere, right? Even if you are taking it somewhere, right? You can even like put it in a clutch if you're going to run errands. It's small, it's condensed. I have oatmeal raisin, so that's going to be great for fiber. So if you just need something to hold you over, and even with the chocolate chip, sometimes it's a nice sweet treat when you don't want like sugar, but like a little something. So I went with oatmeal raisin, but they have a lot of flavors. Do you have the chocolate chip there, Jess?
Yeah, so they did have a lot of flavors. I got the chocolate chip that has 25% less sugar in it. But I love that they have so many more varieties now. I felt like they dominated like a lot of the shelf space in their area.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And I love too how the box kind of like cuts off on the side here to make it easy for kiddos to grab. So the goal would be like pack this lunch in the morning, right? But if it's one of those days and you have all the foods and you weren't able to pack it, it's nice to know when your kids are like, hey, or writing up a proposal, the kiddos can easily grab one in here. Grab one out of here as well. Oh, and there was peanut butter. I thought that one looked really good. I think it was peanut butter chocolate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So this is definitely a bonus. 10 grams of whole grains and no high fructose corn syrup. So Chewy for lunchbox number 1. And then our final thing in here is going to be some water. So I have selected Smartwater for lunchbox number 1. So you guys, if you haven't heard of Smartwater, when you are at Jewel, I found this when you are walking to the checkout, there is a line of coolers with a lot of different beverages, and this is like your perfect last item to pick up at Jewel right before you check out. It's refreshing, and vapor distilled water and electrolytes for taste, and it's purely balanced pH. So this is not just plain water, it's smart water.
Yes, and I also love that we each got a different size. I feel like this one would be good if like maybe your kiddo is like in middle school or high school. They're going through more water, especially if they're like in a sport or anything like that. But then the size that Katie has is like perfect for a smaller lunchbox or a smaller book bag.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And this is actually the sport one too. So you can you can kind of peel off the top and pop off this cap, and you'll see how, even if you're in a hurry and your kiddos are still doing sports like soccer or football or whatever other like baseball, like outdoor sports that are COVID approved this season, there's a sport top too. So super easy for the kids to just grab and drink. And kiddos kind of like to drink this way too. So Smartwater is going to be the final piece of our lunchbox number 1. And actually this one does fit into my lunchbox, but you can always keep it on the side. And at school too, if your kids are going to be in the classroom, they can keep their water bottles out. So that wraps up lunchbox number 1. Did we have any questions on that one? I'm going to move it over here while we wait.
Yeah, we had a couple. So our first one was, does Smartwater come in smaller bottles and like 12 packs as well? I think I saw a 6-pack at the store. I don't know about 12-pack.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest.
Yeah, exactly. And then they were asking how many calories should be in a lunchbox for kids?
That is a good question. So I really work off more making sure that there are whole foods in there and not counting calories. Every child has different recommendations based on their age, size, activity level, their like current health condition. So I know a lot of times when you're reading the nutrition facts label on foods, it might say based on like a 2,000 calorie diet, and that's for a grown adult. But for kiddos, unless you are working with a nutritionist or a dietitian for your child specifically and they have caloric needs, I kind of base it off of making sure that it's whole foods and they're getting a balance of some sort of protein, a fruit or vegetable, a complex carbohydrate. So some dairy in there is going to help you with the protein, cheese for the fat, carbohydrates in the bar and in the sandwich. And then number 2, I would say based on how much they actually finish during lunch. So as a new mom, when my kids were first going into school, I was stuffing the lunchbox. Like I did not want them to be hungry or cranky or not have good focus at school. And I was coming home and they would eat like a third of it because they were talking to their friends. They wanted to get out for recess. So unless you're working with someone specifically on your child's caloric needs, I would say the 2 things is making sure it's balanced, right? Fruit or vegetable, complex carbohydrate, healthy fat, lean protein, and then kind of based off of how much they're eating. And they go through seasons. Sometimes they can't stop eating and they might be going through a growth spurt, and other times they might just, be chatting with their friends or thinking about something else and not eating as much. That would be my recommendation.
Awesome. I love that answer. I think we are done with questions for now. So I'm excited to hear what's in lunchbox number 2.
Yes, lunchbox number 2. We are going with Batman for this one. So in lunchbox number 2, since we did sandwiches for a sandwich for lunchbox number 1, we're going to do more of like a for number 2. For number 2, I'm going to take a sip of water. I don't want to give you a spoiler in Nestle Pure, but it's coming.
So the second lunchbox is going to be more of a snack lunchbox?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just to share, sometimes kiddos might get tired of sandwiches every single day, or if they're like my 7-year-old, they don't like sandwiches. So my 7-year-old doesn't like lunch meat. He doesn't like peanut butter and jelly. So I have to get creative for lunch every day. And he does kind of like having just like a variety of things. And it all comes together as part of a balanced meal, but he doesn't necessarily want a sandwich. So for those of you who can relate to that, or maybe even if you're out of bread or your kiddos are kind of wanting something a little different from the sandwich, that's what lunchbox number 2 is all about. So we are going to start with the whole grain, and you have your choice from 2 different bars. So number 1 is Nature's Bakery. Nature's Bakery has a variety of flavors. This I got strawberry, but there was fig, raspberry, blueberry. Do you have the strawberry too, Jess?
Yeah, I went with this one because this is probably the only flavor I haven't tried of them so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my kiddos love these. We've gotten them at Jewel before a lot. And what I love about them too is that there are 2 in here. So there's 2 fig bars in one. And then what's great about these as well, dairy-free if you have a dairy allergy, nut-free if you have a nut allergy, vegan, kosher, plant-based, no high fructose corn syrup, non-GMO. So it really checks all of the boxes for a healthy choice for a bar. So you have this as an option for the bar in the snack lunchbox. But your other option would be a bar from Nature Valley. And Nature Valley actually has 2 bars in their one wrapper as well. And 2 bars is 1 serving size. So there's the original flavor, oats and honey. I remember eating these a lot, like in college, like running from class to class. But great for kiddos too. And I feel like I didn't have a variety back then, but now there's an oats and dark chocolate, which would be A, in a lunchbox, awesome. B, but really good sprinkled on top of yogurt. And then,
yes.
Right? Same thing, in a peanut butter one too. So I got the variety pack because I kind of wanted to sample all of them. Do you have?
Yeah. I actually went with just the oats and honey. Like you were saying, like it just brings me back to when I used to teach cheerleading to little campers at the park. I feel like everyone had this in their lunchbox, and I was a big fan too. So I just went with like the original one.
Yeah, I love the old school original one. And actually, any flavor would be really good, crumbled on top of yogurt, or actually maybe even the oats and dark chocolate could be good on top of like ice cream if you want to go for a sweet treat. But all on their own, they're great for a snack for kids, and really good if you're doing that kind of like snack lunchbox. So that's an option as well. So I'm going to take the peanut butter one and put it in here. So recommending choosing one. So if you were to do a third lunchbox, you would put one in one and one in the other, but choose one of the bars for lunchbox number 2. All right, and then next for the fruit or vegetable, we're going to go with carrots. So we did an apple for number 1. We're going to do carrots for number 2. And again, the produce aisle at Jewel is so beautiful. I just love when you're in there, like either looking for carrots or for a cucumber. My 7-year-old loves cucumber and ranch. And then all the mist comes out and you're like,
Oh yeah.
it just looks so fresh and clean. So you can get these carrots in the produce aisle at Jewel as well. So we're going to do carrots, get some good vitamin K in there for the kiddos. So next up for protein and a fat, we are going to go with Frigo CheeseHeads. My kids have already gotten into these, if you see my Instagram stories today. And they have such a good variety. My boys love, we call it orange cheese. So even if it's cheddar cheese and it's white, they won't want to eat it. They want it to be orange. So I got Wisconsin sharp cheddar. But man, they even had some good blends. They had like a Colby Jack and like a blended with another cheese. They have a really, really big variety. What did you get, Jess?
Yeah, I just went with the original. That's my favorite. And I too already got in there. That's why there's a little opening here. But I just love these, they're so slim, they fit anywhere. Even if your lunchbox is really small, they'll fit in there. You'll manage to fit them in there. Or maybe if like you're dropping your kids off at school, I feel like moms can just toss these in their purses and like hand them out in the car because they're so convenient to carry around.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that they have like a product line of Wisconsin cheeses. So this is made with Wisconsin cheese. And I want to say that there was like a couple other flavors that was like proudly including Wisconsin cheese, which I don't know, it just kind of gives more of that like whole flavor to me. 6 grams of protein. So yeah, and I agree, just super easy to pack, putting anywhere. And also if you're having like a super busy day and your kiddo's asking for a snack, maybe they already went through the lunchbox while you're working at home, this is nice to just keep in the fridge for them to just like open up the drawer and grab it themselves too, rather than you having to, put on full court press, slicing things up and cutting them up. So that's going into lunchbox number 2 as well. You know what I just thought of for dinner? We might want to put our smiley face potatoes, our McCain potatoes, in the oven now. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Okay, I should have thought about that earlier because they're going to take a few minutes to bake. So I'm just going to put them in the oven, and then when they come out, we are going to talk all about these yummy McCain Smiles potatoes. Okay, I'm going to throw those in the oven right here real quick.
Perfect. Steph, did we get any questions about some of the products we just mentioned for lunchbox number 2?
No questions yet, but everyone is a big fan of the cheese heads, the Frigo CheeseHeads strips. I love them too. They're so easy to like, I don't know if you guys are like, do you peel them or do you bite them? Because my brother bites them and I don't trust him.
Yeah.
So are you guys peelers or
them.
biters? Okay, good.
So I peel them, but my dad bites them.
If I had string cheese, I'm a peeler. But if it was like, I think that this one is more of like blocked and not peelable. You could figure out how to peel it, but I would probably maybe like cut this up into little cubes or something.
Ooh, yeah.
There you go. We got options.
Exactly.
Yeah. They have so many different varieties too. Like you were saying, like they've got the twisty one, so it's orange and the white cheese, if you're gonna call it that way. I think it's mozzarella and sharp cheddar, but that's a great combo as well.
I was pleasantly surprised when I saw all the options, and I was happy that they had orange cheese for my children who love them. Okay, so final thing that's gonna go in lunchbox number 2. Well, 2 more things. First, we're gonna have some fun. Now, when my second grader was going into kindergarten, I was a like no treats in the lunchbox mom. I was like, nope, we don't need them. I don't want you to get like tired for school. And then after Halloween happened, he was like, Mom, all the kids are bringing Halloween candy into their lunch boxes. And so we negotiated. And so yes, sometimes depending on the treats during the week, or if he's having a treat that night, then I will put the treats in the lunchbox. So we are going to, first day of school, maybe that's a great way to start off the week with a treat. So I am doing the Annie's Homegrown Bunny Fruit Snacks. So I had a little fun here, and I had never seen that they had these sour bunny snacks. And my boys love like sour snacks. So I'm excited. They haven't tried these yet. So I'm excited for them to try these. Did you get original, or what'd you get, Jess?
I did not see the sour ones. I would have loved to try that, but I picked up the tropical treat bunnies. So they are shaped like little bunnies, in case someone out there has not seen these before. I did also see some that were shaped like tractors or build your own bunny shapes. I thought that was so cute and so creative to keep kids busy while they're eating lunch and having fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I didn't know that they came in all those different shapes. Yeah, mine are shaped as bunnies too. And there's a combination of cherry, lemon, and orange. And then there no artificial flavors or there's lots of bad rap on like artificial colors in addition to artificial flavors. Made with real fruit juice and no high fructose corn syrup, non-GMO verified. So better than other options for candy. But yeah, I think for this first lunchbox that I'll be making for the kiddos, we start September 1st with e-learning. I'm going to throw these into their lunchbox. I think they'll be happy to see it in there.
Perfect. And I feel like they are like the perfect size too, because I feel like other fruit snacks are more filled, like the bags are way more filled, but this is like the perfect amount, even for someone like me or like a college student or a high school student, something like that. Like this is the perfect size for a little fruit snack pouch.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's so true. Rather than having like a big thing of a candy or a treat, it's a nice little mini pouch, and they are probably excited that they get to kind of have this pouch to themselves, and it's not mom saying, here are your 5 serving, here's 5.
Right.
Eat the whole thing, but it's not big. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so the final thing going into lunchbox number 2 is going to be water. So we are doing Nestle PureLife water. And what I loved about these is, so I got these, you can get them in a 4-pack or you can get them individually. It looks like, do you have a mini one there, Jess? I didn't see those. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have the regular Nestle PureLife mini water bottles.
Yeah, that's a great idea too, especially for lunch boxes. That's going to make it so easy. This one, again, it should be able to fit in a lunch box, but your kiddos should be able to at school keep their water bottle out if it's not going to be in their lunch box all day. But what I loved about Nestle's water is it comes in a variety of different flavors. So there's orange. I have blackberry that I'm sipping on here. And this one has extra potassium in it. So again, if the kiddos at the beginning of the school year, it's still hot. It's hot like through September, they're sweating. So making sure that they're getting some potassium in there for their little muscles. And then this one has zinc in it. This is the blackberry flavor. I'll put these closer. And what's good about zinc, it's great for your immune system, again, particularly during the season of COVID. So both of them, I've tried the blackberry and it's really, really good. And my kiddos are going to love the orange flavor as well. So this is going to go in there as well.
Those flavors sound so fun, and my Jewel did not have those in stock, but that is something that I would love to try out myself.
Yeah, I liked them. There was another flavor in there too that I think would probably be better for grown-ups and not kiddos, but they had at least like 3 or 4 different flavors in there. So I thought the orange with zinc would be really good for the lunchbox, and actually, sorry, the orange with potassium and the blackberry with zinc would be really good for the lunchbox too. All right, so we're done with lunchbox 2. We'll have a little snack in between, and then we'll see how dinner is going. So I'm gonna put this over here. All right, so, oh, you know what I almost forgot is whether your kiddos are eating lunch at home or eating lunch at school, they're bound to make a mess. So I grabbed these Kleenex wipes. So you can put them in your kiddo's lunchbox so that after he or she has eaten everything, they can kind of clean up themselves, whether it's their desk. I'm sure their teacher would be really happy about that. But even at home, when it's hard, again, if you're working at home and your kids are doing e-learning at home and you are in the middle of a conference call, or if your husband's in the other office, or whatever your setup is, having these out is so nice for your kiddos to just be like, okay, I made a mess, clean it up, open it up, pull it out, and wipe it down. Ooh,
Yeah, I agree. I feel like those are so convenient to have around, maybe one in each room while they're e-learning right next to their laptops. I picked up these are the regular Kleenex, but they have like this little opening in the front. And what I really liked about them is that they have this little piece up here that you can actually loop to your book bag. So if your child is going back to school in person, they can just loop this on their book bag, and it doesn't take up space inside of their book bag in case they wanted to bring tissues with them to school. And I just thought they're also like a slim pack, very convenient to have, and they have a fun design, and they had other designs as well.
I love that. Sorry, hold on. My phone's beeping. So 1 second. Turn it off. We're gonna have to put those in a second. Yeah, I love that idea. And were those Kleenex or were those wipes?
These are just the dry Kleenex. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, being back at school, we're gonna be around like other kiddos. You're bound to have a runny nose or something. So yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so before we start dinner, I wanted to talk about this brand LifeAid. So I grabbed a few different flavors here. And it's really up to you based on like what your kiddos like to drink and their age. So this I'm calling like a mom snack during the day. But again, if you have kiddos, that would make sense to have, because it's kind of like, I liked how you guys described it earlier, it's like a vitamin drink. And it has amazing ingredients in here, but I feel like for my younger kiddos, this would definitely be more for me, to just get through the day, right, with e-learning. So what flavors do you have over there, Jess?
So I have the Immunity Aid, and then I have the Focus Aid, and then I also have, I feel like this is more like their original, the Thrive Life Aid. And I feel like each one has their own purpose, and I love that they have different colors so that you can remember which one was maybe like your favorite color to drink, or your favorite drink that has like a specific purpose to it. But I love that they have that, because it depends on, you know, the mood you're in or what you need a boost with. Like if you needed an immunity boost, this would be perfect. Or focus on school, maybe you're a high school kid, or yeah, I would say like high school or college student, this would be really good.
Yeah, I love the variety you're talking about there. I started drinking this before we started. It's really, really good. So I have the Thrive. So there is turmeric, vitamin B complex, magnesium, rosemary, which I thought was super interesting, vitamin C, and cayenne. So super yummy, only 40 calories. And this one doesn't have caffeine. So knowing that we were going live at 5 today and I wanted to be drinking this, I wanted to make sure I didn't have caffeine, because it is recommended to reduce caffeine intake starting around like 12 or 2. so you get a good night's sleep. However, you can have this one earlier in the day, and you had mentioned this too. The Focus Aid does have 100 milligrams of natural caffeine, which is like a basic cup of coffee for 100 milligrams, and just a lot of really, really healthy vitamins and minerals to help you get through your day, and vitamins that you might not be getting in certain foods as well. So it's like a supplement in a can. And then I also got the one that you have too, the Orange Burst, vitamins A, C, and D3, magnesium, echinacea, which is really important for immunity, especially during this time and flu season, turmeric, zinc, zinc, only 40 calories. So I'm excited about these. I'm calling them my mom drinks though.
Yeah, that's a great way to, to call them.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, guys, we have gotten through so many things. We did lunchbox 1, we did lunchbox 2, we talked about our snack. So now we're going to talk about dinner. And we have McCain's Smiley potatoes. So with McCain's Smiley potatoes, first of all, they're so cute, right? So I got the plain one, but there was a cheese one with cheese in it. Did you get the original, Jess, or did you have the one with cheese?
Yeah, I picked up the original.
Cool. Yeah, these are great, and they even give you a recipe on the back for a pizza dipping sauce, which I thought was really, really fun. Anything that kids can dip into, especially after a long day of trying to learn in a new way. This is just a great weeknight dinner that is going to be easy for you to make and just kind of bring everybody together at the end of the day and just talk about, how was your day, whether you were at school or you were at school for only a couple hours, or whether you were e-learning all day. And this dinner just really gives you the opportunity to bring it all home and talk about how it went, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yes. So no artificial flavors. They're seasoned with sea salt. So you saw them in the oven. So that was the first set of so you bake at 425. You do 8 minutes and then flip them halfway and then bake for another 8 minutes. So I'm gonna grab mine real quick and do a flip and then let them bake for another few minutes. And then we can talk about the other 2 things that we're gonna be making for dinner. Is that cool?
Perfect.
Honey, okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I love how this doesn't take so long to make. So like maybe if the kiddos are coming back, if they're in school and they maybe stay after school for any like activities or programs like that, it's still like a good like side dish to have for dinner that doesn't take up too much time, no matter how late the day is. And I mean, they just look so fun. I feel like everyone would just like be in a happier mood when they see these.
Exactly. No, I love those. I had those a ton as a kid, and so like it brings back like nostalgia as well. So that's always fun. Plus, yeah, how can you be upset when you're eating a smiley face? Like,
right.
they're happy, you're happy, we're all good.
Okay, I'm gonna put these back in for another couple minutes, and then we'll finish with the rest.
We did have one question. So can these potatoes be prepared in a microwave?
It suggests an oven or a deep fryer. Yeah, that's what the bag suggests, but I feel like you could test a few of them out, and I don't see why not,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with you. So it says either the oven or deep fry, and probably to get that like yummy crispiness. But if you were to ask my husband, he would say you have to only oven or deep fry. Me, I said, we'll throw them in the microwave and see what happens. Or,
I like that.
Right? Or maybe pan fry them. Maybe like see how it works that way too, and just kind of play with it. But I think that they're probably recommending the oven or deep fry because that's going to give you like the best flavor and the best texture. But play around with it and see what works.
Exactly. And someone asked, is it 16 minutes frozen or thawed?
Frozen. So you cook from frozen. Great question, which I love, because if I have to thaw something for like an hour before we're going to eat it, it's not going to happen. So totally from frozen. And yeah, all you do is you put them in for 6 to 8 minutes, flip them, and then put them in for another 8 minutes. So ours are going to be beeping soon because I kind of went over the first 8-minute mark. But what we're going to do with these is we're going to sprinkle some cheese on top of them. And so I got this VV Supremo shredded Chihuahua cheese. So at my Jewel, the cheeses, same thing with the Frigo, are on the back wall. And this just looks so good. They also had this like quesadilla cheese too. But I thought that grabbing some shredded cheese to sprinkle over top of the potatoes could make it really fun. And if you do go ahead and make this pizza dipping sauce on the back of this bag, it could be a really fun meal for your kiddos to kind of sprinkle the cheese on and dip. So Jess, I'll let you chat about this while I go grab the potatoes.
Perfect. Yeah, I love V&V Supremo's Chihuahua cheese. It's so good to make quesadillas. I also love sprinkling it on like burrito bowls if I make those at home for lunch. And I also love that like you don't have to melt it for it to taste good. Like even if you just leave it as is, it'll still taste so delicious. Or how Katie was saying to sprinkle it maybe on top of like the McCain smiley faces, and you know they'll be steaming a little bit and the cheese will just melt a little while they're sitting on top of that. But yeah, it's such a good cheese. I also love that they had a couple of other varieties. Like they had a Mexican blend of like 3 cheeses together. They had one with jalapenos, so maybe like for the older kids that like a little bit of spice in their lunches, that could be a great option too. And they also had different sizes in these baggies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, such
we
a
are a
good
big
cheese.
Taco Tuesday family, and it's always, yep. And so literally like shredded cheese, it's the perfect cheese to put on top of tacos, whether you have a taco shell or whether you have a taco wrap. So we are going to sprinkle these, and actually I'm going to open this now and put them on top of these potatoes. So I also recommend balancing out your meal with a vegetable and a protein. I don't know if you guys can see this, but they look so cute. So I prepared some frozen broccoli and some frozen meatballs. So all I did was, so for the meatballs, Jewel, you can go and they have all of the fixings for meatballs that are homemade. But they also have a lot of different meatballs in the freezer aisle. So these are from the freezer aisle, and you can just read the bag for whatever brand you get and follow the cooking instructions. So you can either put them in the oven or you can pan fry them. For these purposes, whoever asked about the microwave, you're my girl, you're my guy, because sometimes, especially on a weeknight after you've been working all day or whatever your day was, the microwave is your friend. So I have these meatballs that I had microwaved, so I'm gonna put them on the plate here to show you guys. Nice. And then you can also, if you have like if you're gonna make the pizza dipping sauce on the back of the McCain's bag and you have the cheese to sprinkle, you can sprinkle the cheese on top of the meatballs as well. Just kind of have some fun with it. Oh, and I should have mentioned the McCain serving size is 5 smiley faces. Okay. And then finally for dinner, I also prepared some broccoli. So this was frozen. We like to use our like multi-cooker steamer when we make broccoli. The boys love it. We put salt on it. If you want to put a little like butter or ghee, that's great. It's a great, segue to help them out. But starting your kids off with vegetables as early as possible will really help them just get used to them and expect them. I'm not gonna lie, it was a couple weeks ago, it was either my 5-year-old or my 7-year-old I think it was my 7-year-old, said, "What's the vegetable with dinner tonight?" And I was like, yes, I'm doing
Oh,
something.
I love that.
I was like, oh my gosh. So, so we have a nice little meal here with the McCain. Sorry guys, my son at this like hour is kind of glaring down. I should close the blind. But we've got the McCain's little smiley face potatoes and the cheese. If you put the cheese on right when they come out of the oven, it starts to melt. We've got the 2 meatballs right there. We've got some broccoli. So I think the only thing missing though is a sweet treat. So I'm from the freezer.
And I totally agree with what Katie was saying with starting giving like a lot of fruits and veggies to your kids as they're, you know, at a younger age, and they gradually start to like it more and more as they get older. Because that's how I was. Like, I loved fruits and veggies like since I was young, and I still do. I love it all in my meals, and to snack on. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really, really great. You know, just trying to make sure at least lunch and dinner, making sure that you have a vegetable for you and your kiddos. And if you can add more to your breakfast, or if you can have it as a snack as well. It's just kind of an automatic thing. Just try to get those in there, especially now when it's really important to have vitamins and minerals. All right, guys, Kemps Ice Cream. I am so glad that I discovered this brand. So I got the mint chocolate chip. My boys love mint chocolate chip, but they had so many different varieties, even beyond ice cream. They had so many things. What did you get, Jess?
So I got one of the other things that was beyond ice cream. So I got the frozen yogurt in the strawberry flavor.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. So yeah, frozen yogurt. They even have things like sour cream and cottage cheese. They have a big variety, Kemps. So my boys love mint chocolate chip, and so that's why I selected it. So yeah, I think that again, as a family, we're not having ice cream like every single night, but I love how you got the frozen yogurt. If you wanted something a little lighter and not anything as like thick or premium, then you have that option. And again, Kemps, you're going to see it all throughout Jewel. They have a lot of different things besides ice cream and frozen yogurt. So here's a nice little scoop of the frozen.
Oh, that's a perfect scoop.
It's the ice cream scoop. So yeah, and what I loved about Kemps as well, no artificial flavors, no high fructose corn syrup, made with real cream from family farms. So when I was like just doing a little bit more research on all of these brands, I went to their websites, and Kemps like talks about all their farmers. Everything is very local. So I'm a big fan of Kemps.
Yeah, same here. I feel like they had so many flavors to choose from. So there's like a flavor in there for everyone. And I believe they also carry like their sandwiches too. So you guys can look out for those. But yeah, I'm so excited to give the frozen yogurt a try. They had a lot of flavors in this as well. So I love that they had that nice variety for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. So, oh gosh, we are at, just like a few minutes left here. So maybe what we'll do, if we have any other questions, but I'll also bring back the lunch boxes and we'll kind of do a final recap of everything that we've done. I like how even though the glare is coming in, you can now see all of these beautiful foods even better. Yeah. So in lunchbox number 1, if you recall, this was the sandwich lunchbox. So we had the Schar gluten-free bread, and I put ham on there. And again, you can get that from the deli counter at Jewel and get it shaved fresh, any like thickness or thinness that you like, with a chewy granola bar, organic yogurt pouch, and Smartwater. And I threw an apple in there as well. In the Mindcraft lunchbox. And then lunchbox number 2, we made a little bit more kind of snacky, a little bit more grab and go. And that had the Nestle PureLife water, again, either a smaller bottle or a bigger flavored one. And we had the Nature's Bakery granola bar, and you have your option of getting the Nature Valley one as well, the Frigo CheeseHead stick, some carrots, and the Annie's homegrown fruit snacks. And then we had our weeknight dinner with ice cream to top. Oh, and also our LifeAid drink too as well. Do we have any other questions?
I think we're good. Thank you so much for sharing about all these products. I love hearing about all these and like how Kemps is like very local, and how the If You Care like compostable bags are so good for the environment. Like I love using those for sandwiches, and like if I didn't have any Tupperware or anything, I'd put the carrots in there as well. So many different options. Yeah, so many different like flavors and everything. For Nestle PureLife, they had so many different like orange, blackberry. I'm a big blackberry fan, so
Yeah.
I'll be picking that up.
Yeah, it's really good.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And if you have any last minute questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. We have 2 more events in store this weekend for back to school. So if you missed the first 2, head on over to our back to school events. You'll see that information on our Instagram at Jewel-Osco. So, and then any other recipes, questions you have, you can always ask at Wholehearty on Instagram.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you, Katie, for putting all of this together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for putting it all together with me, Jess. This was so fun. And again, no matter what your fall, winter, spring season is going to look like with back to school, you know, with Jewel, they're going to have everything you need for snacks, lunches, dinners, and treats.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And like Steph said, if you have any other questions, let us know now. But I think that's pretty much it. And we'd like to thank you guys so much for joining us today. And thank you again to Katie for being such a great host. And yeah, we will see you in store if you guys make it out to the back to school event. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.